To add to the pressure, Stanley Roper had decided that the apartment's plumbing needed adjusting. This usually meant Stanley banging on pipes in the basement until the hot water turned into a trickle of icy slush and the gas stove started to hiss like a snake. "Mr. Roper," Jack yelled down the hallway as the stove flickered ominously. "I'm in the middle of a delicate folding process. I need consistent heat." "Pipe down, Tripper," Stanley's voice echoed from the depths. "I'm trying to save you on the gas bill. You kids use enough energy to power a small city in the Midwest." Just as Jack was about to put the sofa in the oven, Larry Dallas burst through the door without knocking. Larry was the epitome of 1970s leisure suit-style wide lapels, enough chest hair to weave a rug, and a smile that suggested he had a bridge to sell you at a very reasonable price. "Jacko, my man, my brother from another mother," Larry beamed, ignoring the palpable tension in the room. "I've got it. The ultimate scheme. We buy a food truck. We sell Tripper's tacos. We make a fortune by Friday. Larry, I'm making a sofa. My future depends on this egg." Jack hissed. "Tacos are easier, Jack. People don't care if a taco collapses. In fact, they expect it. It adds to the experience." The distraction was fatal. Jack turned back to his oven, but in the chaos of Larry's arrival, he had forgotten to preheat it properly. The sofa, sensing the lack of commitment and the inconsistent temperature, refused to rise. It sat in the dish, a sad, yellow puddle of wasted potential. Jack slumped into a chair, the whisk falling from his hand. "I'm a failure. Pierre is going to make me wash dishes for the rest of the semester. I'll be the oldest busboy in California." Jeanne, ever the pragmatist, walked over and patted his shoulder. "Jack, it's just one egg dish. It doesn't define you. Besides, we have the leftovers from the flower shop's grand opening party. Shrimp cocktail and mini quiches." "Quiches?" Jack's eyes lit up. "Wait, if I can just repurpose the quiches into a new presentation. Pierre loves innovation." Chapter 10, The Regal Beagle Rendezvous. The Regal Beagle was the social heart of Santa Monica, a place where the beer was cold, the music was loud, and the misunderstandings were plentiful and often hilarious. Friday night found the trio and Larry crammed into a booth, trying to forget a week of wilting ferns, Columbus hands, and collapsed sofas. To Jack, Larry toasted, raising a frosty mug. The man who turned day-old quiches into a passing grade through sheer charisma and French-sounding lies. Barely, Jack muttered, though he was finally smiling, "Pierre said my crust was uninspired, but my filling was adequate. In French, that's practically a standing ovation." The bar was crowded. At the far end, they spotted the Ropers. Helen was trying to get Stanley to dance to a disco beat that was pulsating through the room, but Stanley was as immovable as a mountain made of granite and stubbornness. "Come on, Stanley, "It's our night out," Helen urged, her caftan shimmering under the disco ball like a neon sign. "It's a hustle. You used to be great at the foxtrot back in the day." "The foxtrot was for men, Helen," Stanley grumbled, sipping his beer. This is for people who have too much time on their hands and too much hair on their heads." He glanced pointedly at a group of young men with impressive afros. Back at the booth, Larry was eyeing a blonde at the bar with the intensity of a predator. "Watch this. Guys, the Dallas Charm is about to go into high gear. I call this the Velvet Touch." Larry straightened his collar and strolled over. Within 30 seconds, he was back, looking slightly singed and very rejected. "What happened? Did the Velvet Touch fail?" Chrissy asked, giggling. "She's a librarian," Larry sighed, sliding back into the booth. Apparently, "What's your sign?" is a cliché in the Dewey Decimal System. She told me to go check myself out. The night took a turn when a group of Jack's cooking school rivals entered. They were led by Andre, a man who wore his chef's hat with an arrogance that Jack found infuriating. Andre was everything Jack wasn't: wealthy, polished, and actually French. "Ah, Tripper," Andre sneered, stopping by their booth. "I heard about your adequate quiches. Perhaps one day you will learn to cook for people with actual palates, not just for whatever it is you do in that apartment of yours." Jack stood up, his face reddening. "My roommates love my cooking, Andre. And for your information, my adequate quiches were the talk of the flower shop. They were requested by name." "Flowers do not have taste buds, Tripper," Andre laughed, turning to his friends. "They probably enjoyed the fertilizer more than your crust." Jana stepped in before Jack could do something he'd regret, like throwing a bowl of pretzels at Andre's head. "Andre, why don't you go back to your copper pots? We're trying to have a civilized evening without your ego taking up all the air." "Civilized with Larry Dallas." Andre smirked and walked away, his laughter trailing behind him like a bad smell. The incident left Jack feeling defensive and small. He spent the rest of the night practicing his chef's stare in the bar mirror, while Chrissy tried to explain the plot of a soap opera to a bewildered bartender who just wanted to wash glasses in peace. Chapter 11, The Locked Out Lesson. The weekend brought a new disaster that would go down in apartment history. It began with a simple trip to the laundry room in the basement. Jack, laden with 3 baskets of bell-bottoms, polyester shirts, and Jeanette's delicates, managed to drop his keys down the elevator shaft while trying to balance a box of detergent. "Jeanette! Chrissy!" Jack yelled, banging on the apartment door with his elbows. "I'm locked out, and I'm wearing my laundry day outfit. This is an emergency." His laundry day outfit consisted of a pair of shorts that were 3 sizes too tight and a shirt that featured a very large, very orange sun with a smiley face that looked mocking in this